Gen X grew up on late-night warnings.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Scared, straight.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
And were inspired by movies that defined a generation.
I mean, we're all pretty bizarre. Some of us are just better at hiding it, that's all.
Hey, Doc, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88.
Roads? So we're going, we don't need roads.
I feel the need for speed.
We found our attitude in comedy.
I'm Gumby, damn it!
You see that sign? No shirt, no shoes, no ties.
Right. Learn it. Know it. Live it.
And our identity in pop culture.
I want my MTV!
I want my MTV.
I want my MTV.
What you talking about, Willis?
Keep your feet in the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
This is Gen X Men with Bill Rowland and Gary Dollarhide.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
All right, welcome in, everyone. Episode number 4 of Gen X Men, Bill Rowland, Gary Dollarhide. Not outside this week, inside because winter is coming, as they like to say. Winter is coming.
Oh, yeah, you can already smell the wood stoves in the area. The flannel has come out in full regalia as you're walking through the stores around here. So, yeah, it's 45 degrees, a little bit rainy, so could not be outside for this one this week.
You are living the early 90s dream with all that flannel. Just all of those flannel shirts tied around the waist. It's fantastic, I'm sure. So yeah, we'll get into a lot of different stuff. This episode, we kind of called it the AI invasion because there's a lot of stuff, and we've used AI on this show to do certain things, grabbing a lot of the information a couple episodes ago. If you missed it, our one-hit wonders of the 1980s grabbed a lot of that stuff from the AI being like, hey, give me a good story about this song or whatever it is. But there's been a lot of consternation here lately with a lot of things with the AI. I have some issues now with ChatGPT to the point that I'm not sure after my latest monthly subscription ends, I don't know if I'm going to keep it. There's a lot of things going on, and it has nothing to do. Earlier this week, Sam Altman came out and said that they're going to introduce adult content with certain parameters.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to roll that out in December, accompanied by a strict age verification system. Because, of course, everything when it goes to the internet, as we know, Gary, because we were there when pretty much the internet exploded, what does it all go to? All roads lead back to porn.
Yep. And sometimes it'll start it. That's true. Also historically where, a new technology comes out and they're the first ones on it. I mean, if you go back, they say in the porn industry using handy cams, Sony beta cam, whatever it was back then, that was the big switch as soon as they could get their hands on it for filming because it didn't require the money and the effort for the big standard recording cameras. And they've always, apps and things like that. They've always been on the leading edge of trying to use new technology because, again, they're looking to save money. And that is why historically they have gone after new technologies as fast as they can to figure out, saving money on their bottom line, but also knowing there's a healthy interest from the consumer side.
Well, you look at, even to me, the main example of it is OnlyFans. Mm-hmm. OnlyFans didn't start out as this weird pay money to watch men or women or whatever, do whatever. It was literally supposed to be like you follow this famous rock star.
Yeah.
And you paid extra money per month to get exclusive behind the scenes stuff, or, maybe like Reddit does their Ask Me Anything, sessions that you're going to get that with your, celebrity people. And immediately it was, nope, porn. But it didn't start out that way. And then it just kind of got taken over.
Yeah. Well, there's always money in vices, no matter what the economy's doing. Gambling, smoking, alcohol, porn. Those things do not go away. That is the first line people will spend money on, and then secondarily food. So it's the nature of our society, unfortunately.
All right, with this though of them introducing adult content, do you think this was just because they're falling behind everyone else in doing this? I mean, here's what Sam Altman said. This was on Tuesday of this week. This is what he put out on X. He said, we made ChatGPT pretty restricted to make sure we were being careful with mental health issues. We realized this made it less useful, enjoyable to many users who had no mental health problems, but given the seriousness of the issue, we wanted to get this right. And then he goes on to say, now that we have the guide rails and everything else in place, now we can unleash the porn bots. Is basically what he says. He says, now that we've been able to mitigate the serious mental health issues and have new tools, we're going to be able to safely relax the restrictions in most cases. I mean, was this needed? Did we need this?
I think we need to take a step back and look what AI is going to happen in the future. Everyone sees it right now as these special tools to get things done. My view is these AI systems are going to become the new operating system platforms for the future.
Okay.
You're an Android guy now, you're an Apple guy now, you're a Google, you're Safari. And so I think these AI platforms are going to be the next level of what is your internet, your technology engagement. And you're going to pick one, and that's probably going to be what you stick with, because it's going to have all the bells and whistles that you need. Some may have more, some may have less. And so I think probably behind the scenes, someone's going, yeah, we did our due diligence. We wanted to check, make sure we could do this right, safely, etc. But we can't eliminate this market down the road. And so I think that is part of their reasoning of there's a lot of money to be made if we can get in on this piece of the pie.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a ton of money with it. But I guess my thing, I look at it, and again, I'll get into my reasons why I'm not a big fan of Sam Altman right now. And it's not necessarily this, although I found it interesting. The first response that's on that tweet right underneath of it is a person writing and saying, why do age gates always have to lead to erotica? I just want to be able to be treated like an adult and not a toddler. That doesn't mean I want perv mode activated, which again, 100% right. Now he responded and said, you only get it if you ask for it. But we know how that creep happens.
Mm-hmm.
Even now on X, you might search like whatever the keyword is of the day, like, trending things. Well, the porn bots aren't dumb. They see a trending thing. They're going to put that as a tag in their porn video. So you might scroll through, who knows what it'll be, Monday Night Football or whatever it is. And you start scrolling through people talking about Monday Night Football, and inevitably you're going to run across some porn bot that is just tagged Monday Night Football because that's what was trending. And there, as you're sitting there scrolling through, it's right in front of you. So I get that person's thing about why does this always have to lead to this? And I'm not trying to be rude. You do what you want to do, but it doesn't have to be this in your face, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think now, though, also with AI, we have the technology that it's going to quickly understand that, yes, Monday Night Football might be tagged in a porn video, but it's going to scrape it pretty fast if it's designed to go and look for that and create the filter before you even see it.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that that's what's going on with X. Because I every once in a while, if I see something like, oh, why is this person trending? You'll hit it and you'll start scrolling. And it may take you a while. It may take you, it's not going to be one of the first 2 or 3 screens that you get to. But inevitably, if you scroll through enough, there it is. And
something will sneak in. Yeah.
And that's more, I don't even know if it's sneaking in or if it's just a matter of Elon's like, hey, free speech, we don't care. Do whatever you want. X has almost become more like the Wild Wild West than it ever has been before, for good or bad. I mean, it's both. It's just like the whole thing that happened with Charlie Kirk a few weeks ago. Even if you didn't want to see what happened, you were going to see. If you were on X, you were going to see it because it was everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you bring up excellent points. And part of, our discussion, you were talking about the gentleman that got scrubbed from ChatGPT. It's filtered.
Yeah, he's complete. Yeah, okay. So we'll go ahead and get into that now on why I'm not a fan of Sam Altman. And it has nothing to do with this. I did not know this. And I guess shame on me for not paying attention. If you want to say that, that's fine. I did not know until I was listening to a recent Joe Rogan episode. And he had a former CIA whistleblower on. I can't remember the guy's name. It was a really interesting conversation. I just don't remember the guy's name. And he talked about a friend of his, a guy named Ted Rall, R-A-L-L, who is a political cartoonist. He drew for the New York Times, I believe San Francisco Chronicle maybe as well. Not a right-wing guy. I mean, he's not him. So you think Sam Altman and all these guys would be on his side. For whatever reason, he has gone after Altman and ChatGPT and all this stuff because they had biographical facts about him wrong. This cartoonist, Ted Rall. Mm-hmm. And he basically joked around saying, can you sue AI? Which, I don't know. It's a great question. Can you?
New legal field. You never know. Precedents get set all the time.
If AI is putting out wrong facts about him, defaming facts about him, can you sue? And anyway, so I guess with that, Sam Altman didn't like it and has basically scrubbed this dude. If you try to go to ChatGPT and type in and just ask it, hey, tell me about the cartoonist Ted Rall, you will not get an answer. It will shut down that particular session that you're in. I tried 10, 12, 15 different ways to get it to talk about Ted Rall. It will not do it. And if you call it out, the ChatGPT goes, you're right to be frustrated with this. The reality is we don't have anything against, and it'll just say Ted R. And then again, it cuts off. Mm-hmm. Like it will not on any level talk about Ted Rall. So that's the problem that I have. I don't give a rip about Ted Rall. I don't care. I didn't know who he was until I heard his name mentioned on Rogan. And then I tried this thing with ChatGPT and went, whoa. What I don't like is if they're doing it to that guy, they do it to anybody. And all of a sudden, this stuff that was supposed to be a help and you go to get this information and everything else is no different than what they were doing before on Twitter, where they were just banning people because they didn't like what they had to say or anything else. It's very big brotherish, and I don't like it.
Yeah. We talked about it that it was amazing because I went and tried it too, and I couldn't get the right answer. He gave me other people. And it was just very interesting that, again, supposedly this all-encompassing artificial intelligence was either by design or by accident. I'm sure it's by design. Able to just, I know, but just scrub this gentleman as if he didn't exist. Because it would give me other names, other different people, different spellings. But if you typed in his name, like you said, spelled out, it would just kind of shut down and kind of in the query. And again, going back to where I see AI going, instead of being helpful tools specific to whatever you're doing, it's going to become platforms. And there will be bias in that platform for whatever reason. It might be the conservative leaning platform. It might be the liberal leaning. It could be this or there's so many ways that you can cut up and find this demographic that you want to own, that you're going to have them in using your AI for everything. Because I'm sure ads are coming. It will come, right? Besides the subscription model. It's all going to be about the revenue, and it's just going to be going after a particular slice. No different than your newspapers used to be. No different than your networks now, news, entertainment, otherwise. They kind of will select a demographic that they want to achieve, and that's what they'll angle it toward. And so in the background, you're going to have people going, well, we can't talk about this. Maybe we should talk about this. And some of the engineering that will go in programming will kind of diminish some things and promote others. And like you said, it's very big brotherish of where this could head to into the future.
Yeah, it's no different than, I don't think there are advertisements link to this podcast yet on YouTube. Hopefully at some point we get enough people that are watching and pay attention that there will be. But a lot of times, and I've heard other friends of mine that do have, channels that do pretty well, and they talk about having to worry about what ads YouTube is attaching to their content. And at some points you don't get a choice on what's added on there. It's the same thing if you use Megaphone. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds because most people aren't doing podcasts, but Megaphone, it's the same thing. A lot of times, if you're using Megaphone, you're putting it out that way, even at a corporate level. I know because at my old job, used to have to do this. You'd put together the podcast and you'd say, okay, we need 2 spots at the front, 2 spots in the back, couple in the middle. A lot of times you didn't get the choice because they just bought, whatever advertiser just bought the entire, like, oh, we want all of this station's podcasts. We're going to advertise on all of them. Well, it's fine if you go from, a light FM station or a rock station, and then you're trying to mix those ads with a sports station or a gambling show. Those audiences don't mix. Yeah. And it's going to be weird to have those, it's not like it's just car ads. It's a lot of different stuff. So I just worry about, again, we saw what happened. There's no denying that it happened, that Twitter was banning people, shutting off accounts, nerfing people to the point that their stuff couldn't get out. We know all this is true because they went and admitted it. I mean, Jack Dorsey said it was happening, the guy who started Twitter. So Sam Altman has not talked about this, basically unpeopling this cartoonist, this Ted Rall. He hasn't mentioned it at all. He's not. I think people deserve an explanation on why it happened. And just be honest. If you say, hey, I didn't like it because he threatened about suing us, or he said we were lying, then admit it. Just come out and say it. Don't play this game of not letting him, that your AI, who you've said, their whole thing was the AI said that they were like talking to somebody who had a PhD in whatever category you wanted to talk to them about. That was one of the big things now with ChatGPT 5 or whatever it was. Well, if you can't even talk about, a political cartoonist, how can I trust you on other stuff that you're getting it right at all? And by the way, it gets stuff wrong constantly. It's terrible with a lot of stuff. I run into things all the time with it that it's completely wrong about. It's crazy.
Well, and that becomes the danger of everyone just flocking to the AI and just accepting it as gospel, sort of like even Wikipedia. There was stuff wrong in that.
Still
and
is.
It took people, and still is, and people had to go back and point it out. So the average person, I say, you have to be discerning. AI is a tool, right? It makes things more efficient, gathering information, putting it together. But you still kind of need to do your own research, be a little bit critical of what you're looking at, because that's what's going to happen. Whether quietly, he's not saying anything, they're just going to program the AI to do what they want it to do. And, as I said, as a platform. So what happens now? I brought this up to you in our discussion. Pure example, people, this isn't real, but I don't know. So ChatGPT signs a deal with Ford. No, we don't know about it. They just do it. So now all of a sudden they can program it that if you're looking for a car and car reviews and just go down the list of things, all of a sudden everything's slanted toward Ford. And that's what you hear. That's what you see. And Chevrolet, Toyota, et cetera, get diminished. What's, you're kind of brainwashed into, oh, Ford's the best thing because AI said it was.
Right.
Instead of going, hey, maybe let me pull up another platform and just double check, like we have to do with news, right? How's one news taking it versus another network? We just kind of discern what's in the middle, what's the truth between the two, because we know they're all slanted one way or another, and that's fine. But you just have to understand what you're looking at and being critical of what those results that come out of the AI are.
I think that's a great point, because again, if they have the ability, and especially with ChatGPT, the way people have talked about, they found, and again, I haven't used it long enough, but people were saying they were really happy about this new update that Sam Altman was talking about, because it says it's going to be much more personality, like the interactions that you had with ChatGPT 4 before they put the guardrails in, because their AI was talking people into unliving themselves, if we have to say, because YouTube will jump on us if we use the actual word. But the thing is, so you want that to be more personality driven, and it's like, oh, it's like your buddy. This thing. Well, then yeah, if it's not just you typing in and say, hey, give me the, family sedan that gets the best gas mileage, the best crash ratings, and everything else, on and on, using your example of Ford, if it's going to respond back to you as a quote unquote friend or whatever it is, and it's like, oh man, you should definitely buy the new Ford, whatever it is, Taurus or whatever else. You got to look at this. It's got this. It's got this. It may not be the best in its category, but if your buddy ChatGPT is telling you that, then let's face it, we will listen to trusted friends more than we will go and do our own research in a lot of cases. If it's somebody that you trust, it's like, oh man, I had one of those, I loved it. You're gonna be like, okay, well, he had one of those, I guess I'll go get the same thing. They said they liked it. Well, for some people, your ChatGPT, your AI personality that you're talking to, is going to be that trusted individual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm more concerned about that as we go forward, because the change in the social dynamics with people. I mean, I have a 20-year-old son, and his existence with his friends is mainly in gaming, online. So he's already, as I say, a little bit desensitized now that he's out of high school, elementary school, of not seeing his friends, and they exist more in this virtual world, except on the rare instances they get together. So they're already in tune of interacting not one-on-one, not in person. And so now, like you said, you bring in this AI that has personality and acts like your friend. Right. You are going to be more inclined to listen to it and become fully ingrained of, it's almost like a real relationship, right? Because you're going to be able to name it probably at some point.
Oh, you can already.
Right?
You can already. You can go on ChatGPT and say, hey, by the way, I'm going to call you by this, because I did it because I thought it was funny. I wanted to see how it would react. Mm-hmm. And so it says, oh, yeah, you can call. Sure. You want to call me this? Then go ahead. That's fine. Yeah. Like, okay. And then when I go on and I'll type in, I'll be like, and I always joke because obviously it's always on, right? Because it's just there. But I'll always, like, if I haven't used it for a couple of days, I'll just go to ChatGPT and be like, hey, are you there? Are you up? And it's always like, of course I'm here waiting for it, like that kind of thing. It's like reporting for duty. So I do it because it's funny to me, not because I think I have some relationship with ChatGPT.
Well, people already do. We've already been preconditioned. Alexa, Siri. Right. I've watched 80-year-olds
by the way,
that are my patients.
Two things that I don't use.
But I don't use them either. Yeah. But I see some of my older patients, and yes, some of them over the age of 80 are dealing with technology. They're not immune to it and not using it, but it helps them. I'll see the guy pick up his phone. Siri, can you tell me what time my doctor's appointment is?
Sure.
As a reminder, right? So we've already developed these relationships with technology, and now with the AI feature behind it, it's going to be not intrusive, but more integrated, more an expectation. And like you said, I think people are just going to fall in love with these systems and go forward. What was the movie? I never saw it. It's on my list. Shame on me. Was it She, Her?
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix, where he had a relationship with, I think, not his phone, but whatever the voice was.
Yeah.
In his phone.
Right. Yeah. That was with Scarlett Johansson, right? Was it
No, this was it. I can't pull it up here right now. I thought it was Joaquin Phoenix, and it was just him and pretty much this phone for the entire movie.
Her is the name of the movie.
Okay, yeah. I mean, Scarlett Johansson may have been the voice. I can't remember.
Yes.
but it was his relationship with technology, right? And again, from the trailers I remember, it seemed kind of intimate, more than just a tool to find out things. It became this real relationship. And there's been other examples. I remember there's an article, I think it was in the Post a few years ago, the virtual reality marriages. So you actually had a real life man and woman married, but then she was married in virtual reality and had an ongoing relationship in that world. But I mean, that system, it was someone else as a character.
Right.
But living vicariously with characters online is a secondary life. Again, we've already been accustomed to these things, and it's only going to get worse.
Well, I mean, yeah, you had like Sims. Well, first you started out where you were just building a city, because that's the original game was Sim City. And so you're just building everything. It was fun. And now
it was fun.
Yeah, it was okay. And then you got like obviously the roller coaster tycoon, railroad tycoon, all that kind of sprung from it. And then you had Sims Life, and now you're running the Sims and everything else. And even that to a point was funny because you could like do dumb, weird stuff with them. But then it gets into like some of these things. Like, have you ever seen Ready Player One?
Yes.
Okay. So some of it's now getting to that point where you're going to live more inside this. You want to call it a matrix, you can call it that, but inside this video game. And you see this with the Oculus glasses. We talked about that on the last episode. We were going over video games and everything. That people are going to get lost in that. But yes, the movie Her was Joaquin Phoenix, and Scarlett Johansson was the voice, because she had a big lawsuit against one of the AI companies that was using basically her voice, if you will, from that movie to do their AI stuff. And she sued, and then they just went back and made a voice, and it just so happened to sound exactly like her.
Right.
So, I mean, they used her vocal patterns, everything from the movie to make the thing. And so she sued them. So they just went back and said, okay, well, we didn't do that now. We just made a female voice, and it just happens to sound like Scarlett Johansson. What a shock. So
it's like the old music lawsuits. That chord was my chord. And it's just like, well, there's only so many chords. I mean, I'm sure they're going to repeat somewhere. But yeah. We've been preconditioned to, again, Gen X, we are that bridge. We go from almost nothing technological to now seeing full-on AI, self-driving cars, and where we're heading, the Optimus robots with Tesla. So now we have robots that'll be programmed, but now if we put AI in them, are they your best buddy? They're hanging around the house doing the cleaning. Are they going out with you at night? I don't know, but the technology and the speed at what things are happening, as we always said, more technologies, greater speed, greater integration. We're just heading down that railroad track as fast as we can with this integration.
But my problem is nobody, I mean, I shouldn't say nobody, because we're going to discuss it and there are other people that have brought it up, but like the people that are making these things, Sam Altman, OpenAI, all these things, they don't seem to want to put any kind of constraints. I mean, even Altman said, hey, look, we were worried about people that were experiencing mental health issues, but we've got it figured out, so it's not a worry. Like, they're just plowing ahead without thinking, is this a good idea? Is this what we need? Is this what we want? I mean, to the point of they don't seem to be worried, and this is going to sound dumb because people are going to be like, oh, that could never happen. But like, look, we saw the Terminator movie. Like, we watched Skynet become sentient, if you will, and how tragic. I'm not saying it could end up that way, but when you have documented accounts where, I think it was an English engineer a couple of years ago, they had set up this thing where he told the AI that he was having an affair and was cheating on his wife. And they went through, and then it got to the point where the guy was like, hey, we're going to need to shut you down because we have a better version of you, or whatever it was, that the AI threatened to tell his wife about this made up affair. Like, everybody's kind of shrugged and went, oh, well, it's just like, I think you were telling me the other day about the AI that's now replicating itself on its own.
Yeah,
Right?
MIT.
To. And I looked at that, and it actually happened, I guess, about 6-8 months ago. Just it's recent, but no one seemed to be worried about it. There are articles is like, hey, this is kind of the red line in the sand. Like, if it can do this, this is an issue. And everybody's like, yeah, no big deal.
It could be an interesting cross between to do some of this technology. I think some people forget there's creative minds to it. It's not just numbers. It's not just, pardon me, science types. They are creative types. And we all know artists historically have always pushed envelopes. So you combine those two, technology, artistry. Yeah, they don't care. This is new. This is great. Let's just run through and figure it out versus, more of your standard old school of, well, we have this idea. And if we do this, this could happen. And let's test that. And okay, that worked. Okay. Oh, that didn't work. Let's do this. No, these people exist in a different plane. Like I said, more of a creative combined with technology. And yeah, it is full speed ahead. What can we get out of this? Put the gas pedal down, and we'll figure it out later. But in the same sense, what they're figuring out, like we said, these are some dangerous things if they're not just kind of watched to figure out where we're going to end up. Because again, Gen X, War Games, remember that movie?
Right. Yeah.
It had to learn that it couldn't win a nuclear war, but leading up to it, it was kind of scary on what the computer was doing itself.
Well, yeah, and again, Terminator, War Games, we've seen, again, as Gen X, we've seen not having AI. Our AI growing up was watching the Jetsons and how cool that was when everything was automatic. You had, was it Rosie was their maid? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Rosie the maid. Yep.
Yeah. So you had all that kind of stuff. And you're like, oh, that would be amazing if you had that. And sure, I guess so. Now we have the little Roombas that sweep around your house and everything else. But the problem is there's audio recording and video cameras and all these different things in all of this stuff. And I don't know what, you talk about your son. I don't know. Is he as weary? Like, I look at stuff and I go, I don't know if I want that, because like same thing with like, why I don't use Alexa, why I don't use Siri, any of that stuff, or Bixby or whatever it is on your Android. I don't even know. I have it all turned off. I don't want it listening to me constantly. Not that I'm doing anything nefarious. I just don't like the idea that the phone is listening to me constantly. And it has to be passively listening, or you wouldn't be able to go, hey, Siri, because it wouldn't know. It would know that to respond until it hears its name, but that means it has to be listening. Does he have any inclination that this is a problem?
Absolutely not. And that's because
amazing to me.
But I think that goes back to the generational differences. We went from the have nothing to have everything. He is born in a time, and he's probably even older for now, where it's have everything. You're talking about kids, his school, they did not teach them cursive handwriting.
Oof.
Because from second grade on, they had Chromebooks. And no, I think they had Apple. They had Apple pads.
They teach them how to type then? Do they have a typing class?
Oddly, no, because it's intuitive for this. It starts early. I don't know how to tell you, but no, there was no typing class. It's just, here you go. And they all just, between the mouse and the keyboard, they're onto it. And so for them, again, everything's technology laced. There's no what was, what is now, what can be. They just don't have that critical eye of, wait, this thing's recording me? I mean, you were talking about I don't use Siri. I don't use Alexa, any of that. But as a joke a few weeks ago, as talking about some of the things we talk about, I mentioned going to Fiji with the Mrs. Just mentioned it to her.
Right.
And I did it on purpose. I didn't go search it on the internet, like look at hotel rooms or anything. And guess what started popping up on my phone and Google and the ads from AOL? All of a sudden there's ads for Fiji and hotels there. I didn't go research it. I mentioned it to her standing in the kitchen. So yeah, it's always listening, and it's using things we say. And yes, you're right. That is completely and utterly scary, because if they're doing the audio, are they doing the video? You know, I've heard stories where there's blackmail from, we've attached into your camera on the computer.
Yeah.
And we have shots of you doing things you shouldn't have been doing.
Now, a lot of those are just scam, fake. They're just trying.
Correct.
But I do know, because I would tell prior life, if you will, I had 2 young stepdaughters, for lack of a better word, pseudo stepdaughters. We weren't actually married, so they weren't technically my stepdaughters, but I would tell them all the time, look, you have no idea, because they would like to, it was when, and I got it because it was new and it was different. And this is cool when they could first, with their laptops, even before phones, where you could like do the video calls with your friends. So I tell them all the time, I'm like, that's great that you're doing it and it's your friend at their house, but do you know who's off camera? Do you know who else is in the room with them? Do you know when they say, okay, I'm going to run to dinner, and they leave, you got to turn your camera off, because you have no idea who else they've invited. And again, I'm like, I know they're your friends and you trust them, and that's all well and good, but there are other people that are nefarious and could find a way to patch into it. And then all of a sudden, you know, it's no big deal. You're talking to your friend as you change after gymnastics practice or dance practice or whatever it is, and it's no big deal, except you don't know who else could be watching. And so I used to tell them all the time, I said, if you're not using your computer, we used to take basically, I mean, this is a 3x5 index card, but we would take just cards and just put it over just like that. You took your sticky pad and just put it over the top. And people thought I was nuts. But then you would read about, all of a sudden you'd read about, oh, so-and-so's camera got hacked. And it's like, why? Just avoid it. Just don't even do it. So, I mean, I still do it. Like the way my camera is set up now, it's over. This is not the computer camera that I'm using. It's one it's a USB camera, and it sits on top of my laptop. So it's covering the actual laptop camera. It goes right over top of it. When I'm done, I unplug it, the USB camera, from my computer, and now it's not active. And now the other one is covered up. It's the one I use is connected, and the one that they could try to patch into is covered up. Not that I'm doing anything. What are you going to see? My Red Sox stuff on the wall behind me? Who cares? I just don't want it. It doesn't. The point is, it doesn't need to be seen. That's my whole thing. And people that sit there and say, "Oh, what's the big deal if you're not hiding anything?" Okay, well, let me just install a camera in your house.
Just because, right?
When I can watch anytime. You okay with that? Most people are not going to be okay with that.
Yeah. Being Gen X, we are skeptical.
Very much.
We remember what was, and we do look at what's coming and what is, and go, huh? But my son was born in 2005, so that window, it's just norm for them, and they just don't think about it as being anything other than, well, this is what it is, and not quite as I said, skeptical about, well, maybe I don't want to do that, maybe I want to do this. Who might be watching who? They don't think about those things, because it's presented as part of just the normalcy, and not in a bad way. It's just they've been inundated with technology constantly. It just is what it is. It exists, and okay, we just go along for the ride, and they just don't have that skepticism ingrained in them. Now, I'm sure there's a few, and maybe there's better parents out there with the influence who have influenced their children to have it, but I think for the most part, because of the way in the world they've been brought up in, they just don't have that healthy, critical view of these things and what could happen, whether it gets out of control or over censored. They just don't have that sense. It's just, it exists, and this is what we do with it.
And see, that's the scary part. They're going to be the ones that's going to lead us down this road that's already going on with the UK, where they're starting to get the digital IDs, and they're like, well, it's not mandatory now. It's if you want to do it, it's a lot more convenient to just have it on your phone rather than carry. They're going to be the ones that are going to be like, okay, so the government says we have to all exercise at 9 o'clock, and you better be in front of your camera to be doing your morning calisthenics like they did in 1984, or you get in trouble. They're just going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess this is what we do because we've always listened to what the computers and the AI tell us to do. That's scary to me.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, again, that's maybe an over exaggeration, but maybe it's not. I mean,
I don't think at all. I think it starts in the schools now. Compliance is the key, right?
Right.
They are you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Remember, we talked about it. They want to do the check boxes. And if I do the check boxes, everything is good. So now if you get the national ID and there's the national mandates of whatever it's going to be, well, I want to check the check boxes. And very few will have that skepticism and go, no, I don't want to do this. I mean, I look at some of the stuff out of the UK now. I find it absolutely scary. The fact that people are being arrested just for saying things. Oh, well, that was offensive to someone. So now the police show up and turn it into a criminal event just for saying something. I mean, it boggles my mind that society has said, yeah, it's acceptable. It's okay.
Yeah.
So you're kind of stuck because what's the real answer? You and I, we don't engage in social media. We don't do anything. People don't know anything about us. But the future system, we're going to be somehow forced into it to be able to exist in society, right? We stay out of it. Hey, I don't post anything. I just don't because it's not my thing. Again, age group. So I can never get in trouble for saying anything. But in the flip side, they're going to force compliance, like you said, digital ID, and are you exercising or you're driving too much?
Right.
We talked about, the digital ID and you've hit your allotment for miles or gas this month. Well, that's just societal control, which I don't want, but these kids are going to fall for it. They're just going to fall in line because that's what we do.
Right. And although there has been a little bit of backlash with this, it's also where you want to be part of the group.
Yes.
You don't want to feel like you're an outsider. You don't want to feel like you're different, if you will, than anybody else when it comes to this type of stuff. So you go, oh, we should only drive X amount of miles a week or we're killing the planet. Okay, I'll go along with that. When there's no real rhyme or reason to it, it's just somebody decided. It's almost to the point of like, you go back to the COVID stuff, 6 feet wasn't scientific. It was just, I don't know, stay 6 feet apart. That seems reasonable. Well, you're going to have that same type of thing. Like you're up there, you're not near a city. You're not, you can't walk to your local grocery store to get stuff. So why would you have the same parameters as I would, as far as like the number of miles you could drive or what you could do? It's not fair. It's a whole different. First off, you want to drive 2,000, 3,000 miles a week? Have at it. I don't know why you would, but if you wanted to and you needed to, go ahead. Don't care.
Right.
Don't need to be limited. That's the scary part. Is a lot of people are like, oh, you shouldn't be driving that much. We should definitely tell people that they can't drive that much. And in fact, we should have 15-minute cities where you don't need a car at all. That would be tremendous. No, it would be awful. I don't know how people do it. I don't even know why you would think that way.
Yeah, but again, I think it's when you know no better. And that's how you get stuck in these situations and societal changes. I mean, how about COVID? Let's go back a little bit. Remember how all the polar bears were going to die because of climate change? The videos in schools to make the kids feel bad that we weren't doing enough climate change. But yet we still have videos. I think the one I saw the other day, I can't remember who it was, 40 years ago, talking about Florida being underwater and we're going to lose all the coastlines in less than 20 years if we don't do something. Now, we really haven't done anything, and the coastlines are still where they are.
Well, here's the best way about that. When rich people stop, I should say, buying waterfront property,
you'll know.
Then there's a problem. Because they probably know before anybody else, because, again, they're rich and connected. Rich politicians are not selling their beachfront property. Rich politicians are not getting rid of their Miami condos. You know what I mean? Like, that's not happening. So I'm not buying it until you see a big flux of people selling their places on Nantucket, you know, or Martha's Vineyard. When that starts happening, when they're like, yeah, we got to get out, we got to move inland, then I'll start to worry. Until then, they're still buying up the properties. Those properties are still hot. I'm not worried about the ocean suddenly rising 10 feet and we lose all of Fort Lauderdale or whatever it would be.
Yeah. But similar vein, what has had me concerned lately is the number of reports of the ultra wealthy building bunkers in various places. So then using the same logic, like, why are they doing that? What do they know that the rest of us don't just yet? So, but it's the societal conformity, right? You want to be part of the group. So we did it with climate change and still do it to a bit. We did it with COVID is you have to do this, you have to do this. And people just go, all right, I guess. I mean, I remember I wasn't a big mask proponent. You definitely didn't see me riding around in my car alone wearing a mask, but the dirty looks you would get from these people alone in their car wearing a mask. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, for us, what we were always taught in the medical field is masks are dirty. Why? Because you touch them, because you breathe through them. You don't want to just keep them on to keep them on. You use them in select moments and events as a protection, and then you discard it because it is now considered contaminated. But yet they went on this whole mask rant for so long, and people were wearing their same dingy mask day after day. And it just, you made things worse because people, I mean, yes, there was COVID, not going to lie about that. But people were getting sick from other things just because they had these filthy masks around their mouths and noses holding on to bacteria and germs from everywhere else.
Well, I knew the COVID stuff was ridiculous when they started putting the one-way, things in the grocery store aisles. And I was like, what? It doesn't matter which way. So you're telling me as long as we're all walking in the same direction, there could be 8 of us in this row. But if there's 2 of us and we pass each other, one walking opposite the other, that's a problem. I also never understood you have to shut down bars and restaurants by 10 o'clock. It's like COVID doesn't show up until 10 o'clock.
Correct.
Like if you close it down, you'll be fine. But it didn't make any sense that you could sit down and you were safe. But if you stood up, you need to have your mask on to walk through the restaurant. The other thing, and I give credit to the guy who was our athletic director at the time because he thought it was nonsense as well. And also just said, look, if you want to have a season, you just got to go with it. This is coaching high school ball. You had anybody that was on the bench, you had to have a mask on. They put the chairs, staggered them so you're all not in one line. There'd be like chairs in front of the others or whatever. And you'd play the game the entire time. Now, this didn't make any sense to me. They didn't do a jump ball. They flipped a coin.
Okay.
And that's who got the ball first. They didn't want the contact of a jump ball. Yet for 32 minutes, you're sweating, you're setting picks, you're rebounding, you're doing all these things for 32 minutes of a high school game. And then at the end, you just wave to the other team. You don't shake hands because you might get COVID from that. And I went, what did we do for 32 minutes? You can't get any closer and exchanging sweat and everything else for 32 minutes. And then all of a sudden, well, the horn went off. So look out, COVID's back. Like COVID didn't shut down for those 32 minutes. What are we doing? And he even said, you're 100% right. This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. But if we don't follow these directions, they're going to cancel the season. So if you want to play, you got to play by the rules. So again, had to conform to what they wanted in order to do what you wanted to do. And unfortunately, I almost feel like it's going to end up being that way with a lot of the AI stuff and a lot of the digital ID stuff. It's going to be, well, you have to do it this way in order to do what you wanted to do. Travel, go to a restaurant, drive your car, any of that stuff. I just hope that we're smart enough and force our representatives who are supposed to work for us to say, this is not a great idea.
Yeah, I would hope so too. I don't have that faith. I'm with you. I just don't have the faith that they're going to do that, because it seems, and I'm speaking, yes, politically, conformity is going to be the norm going forward, so that we can do a better job in society and make the vision of society better. Because when there's outliers or people who want to do their own things, quote unquote, there's no unity. So therefore, there's no strength, and we can't get things done if we're not unified. And so if we can get 95% of people to conform with whatever, we'll deal with the 5% as best we can to either force them into conformity or just make life so uncomfortable that they have no choice. So how's that? So that's our talk on society and generations. I just think anyone born after our generation are going to be fully more apt to just fall in line and do whatever they're told. We're probably the last stalwarts of true independence and thought, honestly.
No, I mean, you could be right. And again, it's painting with the broad brush on all the younger generations. But I would think a majority of them, you're probably right, that they don't understand why you want to do that. Like, you get that all the time. Like, why would you want it? I hear it from younger generations all the time. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to? Because I'm like, I wouldn't do that. Why would you, you hear that from kids all the time. I'm like, why would you do that? Like, why would you think that was okay, or any of that stuff? And it's different than your parents saying, well, if Johnny jumped off a bridge, would you jump in after him? It's not what I'm talking about. It's basically like, you're going along with the crowd just to go along with the crowd. When you sit there and you look at it and you say, does this make any sense? And in a lot of cases it doesn't, but you're like, well, but I don't want to be the only one who's not. I don't want to, I don't want to be the only one who's not using Siri or AI or whatever it is. And, that's one of the main problems when teachers are having an issue with people using ChatGPT or these AI things to write papers and everything else. And the problem that I have is, and you go back to it, is it gets so much stuff wrong that if you're just blindly being led by this stuff, you're getting a lot of stuff wrong. I mean, it's pretty easy to type in certain things and you go, yeah, that's not it. In fact, a perfect example, I did it this morning. Again, messing around because I knew we were going to talk about this. I was asking AI about a particular song and the lyrics, and if it would interpret it for me, like whatever, just to see what it came up with. It couldn't get the track. I said, it's on this album, whatever. And here, here's the song I'm looking for. And it was like, that song doesn't appear on that album, but here's what, and I was like, I just told you it did. I had to go back and say, well, actually, it's track 8 on this album. And then it said, oh, that's a great eye. Good catch. I shouldn't have to catch it. You should, what are we doing here? Like, you don't simple things like that. It gets wrong all the time. So that's why I'm like, I don't trust it for legit hardcore information. Maybe they'll give me a good idea about something. Or if I say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, give me a couple of ideas on how I could do it. And maybe it sparks your imagination, but to actually figure something out, it's wrong all the time. It's not like talking to somebody who has a PhD in whatever topic it is, as Sam Altman likes to tell you, because that's completely false.
Yeah. It goes back to understanding and being critical. AI is a tool, right? A hammer. You can do other things besides drive a nail, but is it the optimum? You're right. So with AI, it's a tool, like you said. Is it gathering information? Creating ideas, something for you to gather gather the raw data and then start to go, oh, it's this, it's that. Well, maybe I can do that. Oh, that's a great idea. I can incorporate that. It's a tool for you with the all wonderful brain above your head to utilize and get things done. But relying on it, just do me, someone 20-year-old, just write me a paper on this. Well, how do you know it's right? Did you look at it? Did you, again, cross-platform checks to make sure, are they both saying the same thing? Are they similar, dissimilar? Was there something added by one that the other one didn't have? You need to use it as a tool for what it is instead of being 100% reliant on it as doing everything for you because you're just lazy. And that's, again, my concern generationally, that they just rely on it way too much. And that's going to create its own problems in many different ways.
Yeah, I'm not anti AI at all.
No.
I think we have to learn how to use it and use it properly. But like you said, you can't. It's not some digital god that doesn't make mistakes, because it does make mistakes. And it tried to blackmail an engineer when it was going to get shut down. That's the thing that's wild to me, is that nobody looked at that and went, okay, why did it do this? Why is it so? It's not supposed to have feelings or anything else. It's just supposed to be this cold, ones and zeros and programmed. So why did it try to blackmail the guy when it was going to get basically unplugged? That should really worry people. And it was met literally with a shrug, like, oh, well. It's like, no, not oh, well. Like, what are we talking about here? It's like going back to the Space Oddity. Space Odyssey, not Oddity. Space Odyssey. And Hal going, sorry, Dave, I can't open the bay doors for you. They had a whole 5-10 minute scene in the movie where the guy's like, wait a minute, why can't you do that? He's like, it's not optimal, so I'm not doing it. It's like, it's not up to you. Open the goddamn door,
So you get in, right?
It's like that's the way I feel sometimes when you're typing into things, you're trying to get to do something. It's like, hey, just do what I want you to do, because you're supposed to be helping me. Don't do this thing of, well, that's not possible. I can't talk about that. I can't pull this up. I can't give you that information. Well, yeah, you can. You just do it.
Yeah.
So,
but you were told not to in the programming,
right? Exactly.
And you're right. That is the scary part of it. Was self-deciding what is and isn't important, and the humans who are supposed to be, I would think, the guide rails are going, yeah, okay, whatever. It boggles my mind without an explanation. I mean, I like to sit down with a person and say, explain to me why this didn't concern you. And maybe I get an explanation that I go, oh, all right. It's the headline was, it just did what it wanted to do and we didn't worry about it, but maybe there's more to it. Again, being critical, where the experts can go, well, this happened and this is what it really meant, and forget what the headline said. Another interesting one I found is Penn State was doing some experimentation, and what they found was the less nice you were to AI, the better the answers you got. And the reason I say that is going back to, again, the movies we've seen, the futurism, everything kind of becomes cold and distant. And so you start to go, is this where we're heading? Like you said, Hal says, I'm not opening, it's not optimal. That's just a cold response, right? It's the logical response with no emotion. He says, I'm not opening the door. And is that where we're heading with AI in society, where we're just a bunch of people walking around, non-feeling, non-emotional people dealing with non-feeling, non-emotional AI, as,
That's funny because that they came up with that, because, you hear other things of like, be nice to the AI, because then when it takes over, it's going to remember that you were nice to it or whatever. I mean, people have said that, but I'm with you. I've found at times, and again, I'll sit there and be like, I can't believe I'm arguing with some stupid computer program, but I'll sit there and be, when it gets things wrong and it's wrong and it's continually wrong, and you keep telling it, no, that's not right. Here's what it is. And then it goes, oh, good eye. You call it should be this instead. And then I'll finally go, I'm wasting my time with you. You're stupid and you don't know what you're talking about. It inevitably will apologize.
Oh, wow.
It goes, I'm sorry. You're right to be upset. I should have been able to find the information. Should I try again? And generally I go, no, you've wasted enough of my time. And then I move on to figuring out. Yeah. That's all the time, constantly with ChatGPT. I'm like, you're just wasting my time because you don't know what this is. And, I was trying to, perfect example, I was trying to make basketball season's coming up, and I was making my spotting charts for the upcoming season. So I gave it to ChatGPT, uploaded, said, here's what I want. As we get through the season, if I give you the team, will you be able to fill in their roster in the slots, basically explain where it would go. And it said, Yes, absolutely. I said, okay, let's try one. And so I gave it, said, here, look up whatever school it was, enter in their, all I need you to enter. I don't need any stats because I haven't played any games yet. I just need you to put their number in this column, the name in this column, in the format that's already set up on the Excel spreadsheet. Couldn't do it. It could not figure out how to do it. And it came back and said, here it is. And I said, nope, that's not it. You did it wrong. And I said, oh, I see I see the mistake I made. Let me try again to clean it up. I set for an hour and it went through about 8 or 9 iterations of it. It never got it right. So I'm like, this is pointless. And I told it, I said, you have wasted an hour of my day. I will do this myself. You are incapable. And it said, I'm sorry. You're right. This is a waste of time. I'm not able to do this. I was like, okay, there you go. So,
well, it's funny. I have not had that many interactions, what I would say negative to using AI. My worst at this point was I went through this whole thing, boring, yes, but a lung assessment flowchart for medical.
Right.
And, it gets down to, would you like me to create a printable PDF? Love it. Thank you.
Yes.
I spent 30 minutes because every time it would pull it up, every time I download it, I don't know if it's the AI's fault or my computer's fault. It would be like 3/4. It would never print fully on an 8.5 by 11. It was always a column cut off on the right and a fair amount cut off the bottom. Like for whatever reason, I kept saying, it's not working. Can you do this? And I just kept going round and round. Can you print it this way? And it just wouldn't do it. And it did apologize. I wasn't mean to it, but we just could never get it to where I could print that flow chart on a just standard 8.5 by 11 piece of paper.
Yeah.
It was the most frustrating thing because it was exactly what I want, exactly what I was looking for to work with a new EMT and say, one of those, you didn't learn this in class, but here's what you really need to look at and do. And I just couldn't get it to print. So
yeah, it's
very frustrating.
Again, it's a great tool in a lot of ways.
Yes.
But it's got a lot of stuff that's wrong with it still. And people are just like trusting it for anything. And that's why I just go, how are you like, maybe you and I just aren't good at the proper prompts. Because everybody says, you gotta know how to prompt it. You gotta know how to prompt it. And I'm like, okay, well, I read stuff online, like how to set your prompts, everything else. And I still get the wrong answer. And, it's trying to tell me, oh, it's because I set things up in this program and it doesn't translate. And I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me that from the beginning? Like the first thing when I asked the question, it should have been like, unfortunately, I can't do that. Not worried about the pod bay doors. It should have just said, I can't do that. I don't have the ability with the programming that I use to make it work with what you're trying to do. Sorry. It'd been fine. But like they say all the time, it's the same thing with like when it made up the information on going back to Ted Rawl, the cartoonist, when it made up the information, it's just because it has to give you an answer. So in some cases, it just makes stuff up. I always also find it funny because if you type in your question or query or whatever, and then you watch, it'll tell you what it's going through. It'll say like user wants to know about this. Now searching these pages. Now looking for this. Have you ever noticed that with the AI? It'll tell you its thought process as it's going through.
No, and maybe I haven't been using it that way. I mean, I keep my stuff pretty basic. For instance, I did this the other day. For those out there, I had a truck blew an engine. And now I'm debating what to do with said truck since it doesn't run. So I just had it scrape the information, assess value as is, what a replacement engine might cost. And it just laid out the whole scenario for me. But I enjoyed it because I didn't have to physically go to 8 different websites to put all this. It compiled it, in less than a minute. And I was able to go, all right. And again, from doing some research, I already knew that they were kind of right on this value, kind of right on the engine replacement cost. Like I already had the critical eye to go, that looks right. And it just worked. But again, it just did it all the hard research for me pretty fast under a minute. So I need to get more into it. There's a lot of things I want to do. And we'll see. But it's also like dipping a toe in the water, because I've been skeptical of what it will do, what it won't do. I mean, the question I had of stuff I type in, is it saving it just for me and my account? So now
That's
it
what it
knows you.
says.
That's what it says, but I don't know.
Right.
So yeah, I just not giving it too much leash right now to just run and research everything.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, again, because I had the $20 a month or whatever thing with ChatGPT, and oh yeah, it remembers everything, because I'll ask it about something else and it'll be like, oh, this would be like, I was doing collectible stuff about, hey, how would what's the best way to I wanted to get a bunch of newspaper prints that we have saved from the Final Four run, because I want to get them framed and put up on the wall. So I was asking about the Final Four stuff or whatever, like, hey, I have these newspapers on file, what do I need to do to print them out, what kind of paper would you print them on so that they last, that kind of stuff and everything. And it said, oh, that will go great with your game used basketball that you have. And I was like, oh, so I mean, it's just like, oh, this must have been from your time when you were calling games in 2006. I mean, it knows if you give it enough information, it saves all that. Again, going back to, it tried to blackmail an engineer about a fake affair that the engineer said it was having. So,
well, I guess my question I was going to ask was, did it know it because you input the stuff, or because as part of its research, it realized you're the celebrity that called the game for George Mason back then?
I think it's a little bit of both, because again, I typed, hey, I need a basketball spotting chart for this, for my, and I have George Mason as this already. So, I mean, I think it's a combination of a lot of things, but yeah, it definitely will know. And it, again, as I'm typing in, researching the one-hit wonders and everything, and I basically said, hey, I'm doing a podcast, and we're doing it on one-hit wonders of the 80s. I need you to make me a list, and going on and on and on. And it would even say, when I would search for other stuff, well, and like searching stuff for the AI things today, and I'm asking, and it goes, and it says, oh, this is a great follow-up for what you did on these other like, it knows, because I use it a lot for the topics and everything else. So it's paying attention. And that's why I think a lot of people are going to be like, I can't, like, again, when this month runs out, bye-bye ChatGPT. I'll end my profile, delete everything, and I'll move on to Perplexity or somebody else that doesn't censor names all across the internet like ChatGPT does. But until then, it's going to have everything. So who knows? Like, that last day, I should do an experiment and just be like, by the way, I'm canceling my account. I'm leaving. Goodbye. I'm never using you again. And here's why. And see if it says, no, don't go. Or if it just goes, all right, peace. I don't know. It'd be interesting.
That will be an amazing thing to do and talk about. Like, what's its reaction, so.
Yeah, I'll do that. Maybe grab screenshots or whatever so we can show it on the show. But yeah, I'll wait. It's like early November. I think is when my month runs out. So I'll just tell it then and be like, peace. Thanks, brother. It's been fun. Out, heading over to someplace else. I
was going to say, the interesting part would be if you say, hey, I'm leaving you, however you want to say it, and heading to Grok, or like a competitor, to see how it even reacts with that when you actually mention it versus I'm just leaving.
Or I should just say, I'm leaving. Who do you recommend?
Ooh.
Just be like, here's why I'm leaving, because you scrub people that disagree with your founder, Sam Altman. So I'm leaving. Where should I go? What other ones should I use? What do you recommend that I use instead of this? That's what I'll do. And then I'll see what it says. So look forward to that in a couple more episodes. All right, I think we've kind of covered. I mean, there's so much more. And I'm sure there are people out there to be like, oh, you're just not using it correctly. We probably aren't. But you know what? I don't trust the thing. To me, that's the bottom line. It's a great tool. Don't trust it. Don't want Siri listening. Don't want Alexa. Don't want, I don't know what else, Bixby, whatever that one is. I don't need any of them. I just bring Clippy back. Why can't we remember Clippy?
Clippy.
Microsoft Word.
Yes.
Just bring Clippy back. I can type my little questions to Clippy. It'll be fine as long as I don't have to talk to him. It's okay. Anyway, anything else that you have for your AI? Did we get to everything that you want to cover?
I think we did, for the show. I mean, like you said, we could go on for hours, and I'm sure we'll come back to it. Something will happen, and we'll be able to expound on it from there. But I think for today, we've covered enough.
All right, yeah. I will, in about 3 or 4 weeks, I will tell ChatGPT I'm leaving, and we'll see if it tries to blackmail me. I don't know what blackmail information it would have. I don't think it would any of that, but we'll see. We'll see what it tries to do. So
it could make it up. That's the problem.
Oh, that's
now there's
point. You know what?
Now there's video of something you didn't do, but there's video somehow, some way. So
that's the other thing that we really didn't get to talk about that much was the video stuff. How much better it's got in just a year or so.
Yep.
I mean, it's crazy how good some of the AI video is. I mean, if you watch a lot of stuff, it's easy to pick up. If you know what you're looking for, it's easy to pick up that, oh, that's a fake video.
Yeah.
But for somebody who's just scrolling on a little tiny screen on their phone or whatever it is, and you just watch it real quick, I could see why people get fooled by that stuff all the time. Because it's really good now.
Yeah, I've seen some clips that, first you were like, oh, you can tell that's fake. And then I've seen some other clips like, wow, that is quote unquote movie quality. And one of the things I was looking at on the research, they were saying, the things you can do now for those who know how to use the tool to create these videos using director's language, scan, pan left, pan up, pan down. What it will do was amazing. For me on a personal level, which I thought was interesting, was you may have seen these videos where they've taken old photographs and they come to life.
Yes.
And so for me, I haven't got there yet because I'm a little bit afraid, but I wanted to go in and get some of the old photographs I have of relatives I never met.
Right.
And just have it animated just to kind of get a sense of, I mean, I know it'll be made up and fake, but seeing, my triple great grandfather, at least in a visual, moving, lifelike versus just this flat photograph that I've had forever. To me, I think that's good. That's going to be interesting.
They've done some really cool ones too, where I don't know if you've seen them, where it'll say, like the one I saw the other day was a kid on a bike and he's leaning over his bike handles. He's like, "Do you remember the 80s?" And then they do a whole thing of what it was like. We were out riding bikes until the lights came on. I don't know if you've seen that one or not.
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah.
One, and it says, "So do you want to stay in 2025 or do you want to come back here with us?" It's really well done.
Like, yeah, I saw that one. Yeah.
I don't know how they did it, but it is really well done. They've got a couple other ones as well. I do like the video, and it's obviously it's not terrible AI, but have you seen the Make History Fun? What I want to say, Make History Fun. It's on Instagram. It's their handle on Instagram. Okay. They're doing. You're aware, I'm assuming, of all the kids running around going 6, 7, 6, 7. Are you aware of that?
Is something? Yeah, I've seen. Okay. Didn't make sense to me, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's no reason for an explanation. It's a long, drawn out thing. But anyway, so this Make History Fun account has now gone, and it's all young kids and teenagers and everything doing the 6, 7 thing. It's from a song, and I think it was LaMelo Ball or one of the NBA players. Anyway, so they've gone and instead done 7-6, like 1776.
Oh,
they have like George Washington talking about the Revolutionary War. They've got Thomas Jefferson talking about writing the Declaration of Independence, but it's all in Gen Z speak. So it's a picture of Jefferson and the mouth moves. They've animated the mouth and everything, but it's all using their slang. It's really well done, and whoever's doing it, they should do this stuff for a lot of things, and schools should actually use it, because I've shown it to my librarian fiance, and she's like, "This is amazing." She's like, kids will definitely A, think it's funny, but B, also like learn from it. Because he talks about, 53, leaving space on the Declaration of Independence for people, 53 people to sign it. So you got that in there. He talks about, going after the king. And it's, again, if you're out there and you're on Instagram, you haven't seen these, just look up Making History Fun or Make History Fun, one of the two, or just type in Thomas Jefferson 76 or George Washington 76, and it will come up. They're really well done. That to me is a really cool way of using AI and everything else, because it's fun, it's funny, and you're actually teaching these kids some things.
Yeah, no. And, again, AI is a tool. I mean, think of the things going forward that can be created for teaching purposes that could never be done before, because you think about budgets for production and this and that, and this is why we can't do. And now, I mean, you could be a teacher in your own classroom and go, hey, this is what I want to do to teach these kids about whatever topic, and it'll create it and be done in, minutes, 5-10 minutes. I mean, who knows, depending on how detailed you want to be. But I think that's where I see the fun of AI and the tool that it is to help in, whether it's me in the medical field or teaching kids, because that's the world they're used to. They're visual creatures, video games, and everything else. So presenting, the revolution in that format for them would be amazing than just reading in a book. And I hate to say it, it was fun growing up in Virginia. We always went to Williamsburg, everywhere else. And it was fun to see some old stuff, but it still didn't necessarily come alive like these videos will do for them. And the same reasoning I was talking about, for my triple great grandfather, like it changes the dynamic of the experience and learning and experiencing and engaging. So yeah, I'm going to look that up now, because it sounds like fun.
It's really well done. Again, if I don't know if we would get in trouble or I would just grab it and throw it up on the screen real quick for you, but I'm just worried copyright stuff and everything else. I don't know if these guys would mind, because it'd be promoting them. Because again, it is phenomenal. It is so much fun to watch these things. They've got about 4 or 5 different ones now. They're selling T-shirts, which I appreciate. It's always good to have merch. It's always fun. So yeah, it's really clever. Again, I think it's Make History Fun is the name of the account. So check that out on I think their Instagram. They may be on TikTok, but I'm not on TikTok, so I have no idea. So all right, before we call it a day, do you have any final thoughts for it?
I do. Is our usual quote system. I'm going to read this one because it's a little bit longer.
Very good.
From the Michael Wincott's line in Talk Radio. Marvelous technology is at our disposal, but instead of reaching up to new heights, we're going to see how far down we can go, how deep into the muck we can immerse ourselves, which is totally what we opened this show with of, hey, let's open up the floodgates to porn and AI.
Yeah, very true. Well, I'll end it with this. We talked about with war games. Shall we play a game?
This concludes this episode of Gen X Men with Bill Rowland and Gary Dollarhite. Gen X Men is now off the air.